Today on Global Research Review, a jawbone from Ethiopia rewrites human history, why your next doctor might be an AI panel at the UN, and how a 30-year-old video game is actually saving real-world biodiversity. This is the breakthrough science that matters to Africa. Welcome to the premiere of Global Research Review. I'm Cynthia Bassi, and we are here to bridge the gap between the lab and the living room. We dissect the world's most prestigious journals from Nature, Science, PLOS, you name them, and explain what their findings mean for you.
Why is IDEA TV the premier African innovation television?
Africa's scientific, technological, and entrepreneurial progress and challenges have not always been narrated from within due to financial, leadership, coordination, and capacity challenges, as well as overdependence on external aid.
IDEA stands for Innovation, Development, and Entrepreneurship in Africa.
IDEA TV shares and creates awareness about the activities, progress, challenges, and opportunity institutions, researchers, students, innovators, entrepreneurs, and policymakers, and how they contribute to development.
We promote STEM education, bring science to society, address formal and informal sector innovations, and address unique African developmental issues. We partner with local and global institutions and communities, public and private sectors, NGOs, and donors driving innovation in Africa. We communicate ideas. Our impact? We make evidence and innovation outcomes understandable, useful, and accessible to society. We translate questions, findings, and evidence into stories for communities and policymakers to understand and use. We build capacity for science journalism and innovation in general. Our work facilitates policy around science, technology, and societal. We help to advance knowledge-based economic development. Follow us on all socials at IDEA Television.
This week, Nature News published a fascinating feature marking 30 years of Pokémon. What could fictional pocket monsters possibly have to do with science? Quite a lot, it turns out. The article by science journalist Miriam Nadaf in Nature explores how a cultural phenomenon influences real scientific careers. Researchers in evolutionary biology, biodiversity, taxonomy, and even research integrity have traced their early curiosity to Pokémon's system of classification and evolution. The core insight is simple yet powerful. Pokémon trained millions of children to think taxonomically, to categorize, to observe variation, to understand that creatures evolve and adapt. Scientists interviewed in the article note that Pokémon's branching evolutionary trees resemble phylogenetic trees used in evolutionary biology. For some, collecting and identifying Pokémon mirrored real-world species cataloging. Why does this matter for Africa? Because science literacy often begins outside the classroom. Popular culture can cultivate cognitive habits such as curiosity, systematic thinking, pattern recognition. In countries where formal STEM infrastructure may still be expanding, cultural gateways into science matter. The story reminds us that scientific inspiration does not always begin in laboratories. Sometimes it begins with a Game Boy. Another major report in Nature News, written by Elizabeth Gibney, examines the creation of a new scientific advisory panel on artificial intelligence by the United Nations. The comparison being drawn is deliberate. Observers are likening this panel to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the body whose assessment shaped international climate agreements. The panel's mandate is to provide independent, science-based assessments of AI's risks and opportunities, not speculative hype, not industry marketing, evidence. This comes at a critical moment. AI is transforming labor markets, healthcare diagnostics, warfare systems, financial markets, and education. Yet, governance remains fragmented. For Africa, this development is significant. African nations have historically been broad takers in global technological governance. The creation of a UN advisory structure creates a channel through which Global South researchers can shape norms around data rights, algorithmic fairness, and digital sovereignty. If climate governance taught us anything, it is this. Early participation determines whose interests are protected. The question now is whether African scientists, ethicists, and policymakers will occupy seats at the table. Can the lung rebuild itself? We turn now to medicine. In a Nature Outlook feature, science writer Claire Ainsworth explores emerging research suggesting that the regenerative capacity of the lung has been underestimated. For decades, lungs were considered relatively static organs compared to the liver or skin. Damage from chronic disease such as COPD or fibrosis was often viewed as irreversible. But new cellular studies have shown that certain lung stem and progenitor cells can regenerate damaged tissues under specific conditions. Researchers are investigating how alveolar type 2 cells, among others, respond to injury. Understanding the molecular signals that activate repair pathways could open doors to therapies that stimulate regeneration rather than merely manage symptoms. So why does this matter for Africa? Air pollution is rapidly urbanizing cities. Post-infectious lung damage from tuberculosis and increasing rates of chronic respiratory disease mean lung health is a growing public health issue. If generative medicine advances translate into accessible therapies, they could reshape treatment paradigms in regions where respiratory illnesses burdens are high. The science is early, but the conceptual shift is profound. Instead of accepting chronic damage as permanent, researchers are asking how to reawaken dormant repair systems. Now, we move to Africa directly through Nature Africa. A newly described fossil mandible discovered in Ethiopia after depression has altered the timeline of the genus Paranthropus. The fossil, dated between 2.5 and 2.9 million years ago, represent the first confirmed evidence of this hominin in Ethiopia. Previously, Paranthropus was not firmly documented in that region at this age. Its presence suggests a wider geographic distribution than assumed. Researchers argue that this implies ecological flexibility comparable to Australopithecus and early Homo. For African audiences, this is not abstract anthropology. It reinforces the continent's centrality in human origins research. The Afar Depression alone contains a 6 million year archive of hominin evolution. Each fossil discovery refines not just scientific timelines, but humanity's shared narrative. A genome-wide study published in Scientific Reports analyzed over 63,000 genetic markers across 44 African cattle populations. The results show that many West and East African zebu cattle carry significant genetic ancestry from South Asian cattle introduced through historical trade and migration. Southern African breeds, by contrast, show different admixture patterns. Particularly notable are trypanosomiasis-tolerant breeds such as Endama, which exhibits low genetic variability due to long-term isolation in Sese endemic regions. The study calls for region-specific breeding and conservation strategies, especially as climate pressures intensify. Africa's livestock systems support millions of livelihoods. Genetic diversity is not merely biological curiosity, it is economic resilience. Now, in a landmark initiative titled Assessing Genetic Diversity in Africa, Agenda, researchers have generated whole genome sequences from more than 1,000 individuals across underrepresented African communities. The findings were published in Nature. Communities included Nilo-Saharan and Afro-Asiatic speakers, hunter groups, understudied Bantu-speaking populations, and North African and Indian Ocean island populations across Angola, Kenya, Libya, Mauritius, Rwanda, Tunisia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. Global genomic databases are heavily skewed towards European ancestry populations. This bias reduces accuracy in disease risk prediction for Africans. By expanding representation, Agenda seeks to improve understanding of diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and mental illnesses. So now, genomic equity is scientific equity. In Siaya County, Kenya, a randomized field trial involving 40 rural houses tested 3 passive cooling interventions: cool roofs, cross ventilation, and mat ceilings. Published in Nature Medicine, the study found that cool roof significantly reduces indoor temperatures both day and night. Even more striking, houses fitted with insect screens recorded a 77% reduction in female Anopheles phonetus mosquitoes, a major malaria vector, and a 58% reduction in Sulex mosquitoes. This is a powerful example of climate adaptation intersecting with infectious disease control, low-cost housing modifications delivering dual benefits, that is, thermal comfort and vector reduction. As temperatures rise across sub-Saharan Africa, scalable design interventions could protect both health and productivity. In PLOS Digital Health, researchers led by Christian W. Bold tested a real-time smoking intervention using wearable smartbands. The device detected smoking behavior through motion and sensor data, notifying users in real time. Participants receiving tobacco treatment who used the smartband reported more smoke-free days during treatment and high satisfaction with the device. Smoking is often automatic or habitual. Real-time interruption introduces awareness at the moment of behavior. For Africa, where tobacco use remains a significant but preventable health burden, digital behavioral tools may offer scalable support, especially as smartphones penetration increases. And finally, an opinion piece in PLOS Digital Health argues for integrating rare diseases into Africa's digital health strategies. Authors Silas Frank Gamba and Mata Magili note that rare disease patients often fall through systemic gaps. Their proposed phased development of registries, integration with existing digital systems, use of open source tools, and regional data sharing frameworks. The argument is very pragmatic. Africa may not immediately build large national rare disease infrastructures independently, but through coordinated digital governance, telehealth, and AI-supported diagnostics, equity gaps can narrow. Health digitalization is not only about scale, it is about inclusion. Today's journey has taken us from fictional creatures to fossil mandibles, from genomic databases to mosquito screens, from wearable sensors to global AI governance. The unifying theme is this: knowledge moves across borders, across disciplines, and across generations. The question for Africa is not whether global science will advance, because it will. The question is whether we engage, whether we adapt, contribute, and shape it. This has been Global Research Review on Idea TV. You can look to find the research sources and sites under this video. I'm your host, Cynthia Bassi. Join us next time as we continue bringing research home.